All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for HunterxHunter, episode 134. All right, so
Stay sick.
People are coughing up blood.
Yep, and Yuppie is dead.
Yuppie is dead.
Yuppie.
Rip Yuppie.
Yeah.
Killed by...
Off-screen.
Yeah, off-screen events.
Welfin, we don't know what he's up to now. Kilwa and Gon are still on their way back.
Yeah.
King's starting to remember.
Yeah, the king is starting to remember a lot.
Yeah.
Poof is freaking out.
Yeah, Poof's in a bind because now Meruem's confronted him and it's like, okay, tell me everything.
Yep. And Palm and Ikalgo, oh man, have just had a really good talk, and Palm is basically declared the king will die in a few hours.
And we hid Komugi.
Yep.
Who knows?
So,
yeah.
Okay. I'm looking forward to a negotiating talk between Palm and Ikalgo and Meruem, really. Or I just want to see what is Poof gonna do.
Yeah,
like
that's the main thing.
Just
Yep.
I'm excited, guys.
So
without further ado, let's get into this. All right, guys, we're gonna start the episode in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. This image again.
Yeah.
No different from the ants. We are far worse. Oh my gosh. Well, they're just actually...
Oh, is this Meteor City?
I don't know. I don't think it's important where this is. I think this is just the point of showing what humanity is capable of.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Okay.
Wow. Yep. Holy crap. Wow, they're really trying to drive this point home.
Yeah.
And if Chimera ants merged with... Wow. Chimera ants merged with humans, this is, in some ways, their evolution as well.
Sure.
Yeah, their eventual evolution. Dang. Oh my god, they're really going like for everything here.
Yeah,
Nothing is sacred in this intro. Oh my god.
Holy crap.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh
This
gosh.
background track though is absolutely
The Roso's
amazing.
poisonous.
Yep. So it is an actual poison.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Oh. Oh my god,
yeah,
you're
okay.
right. No. Oh my god.
Holy crap.
Not only that, he sprinkled all of his stuff on the people.
Oh, holy crap, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. The poor man's rose.
Alright.
So yeah,
it's worse than radiation.
In
a lot of ways, it wouldn't matter whether they dropped 1 or dropped like 50.
Maybe that's the point, though, why Netero really wanted to make sure
they were
far away, because Netero didn't want the bomb to actually be effective.
Sure. And maybe he was counting on the fact that they wouldn't be able to keep the Royal Guard, in one place for long, so they would eventually come to, and then they would get just killed from the poison.
But the thing is that the time it takes for them to, become, chains people that would spread the poison means that
that they could then spread it.
It's essentially
to all kinds of other
delaying
people.
it. So no, the fact that I think he put them into the tomb and stuff was that it doesn't matter, like, yeah. Ugh. I don't know. We can never find out because Netero's dead. So the blood. Yeah.
Blood. He's still playing his game.
His internal thoughts. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
No. Dang.
Okay.
Okay, there's his
There's his
N.
N.
Yep. Whoa. Wow. Dang. Oh. Oh my gosh.
I have a message.
No. He's lying. Oh. Holy crap. Oh, he's not lying. Oh my gosh. Wow. Jeez. Oh, he's so panicking.
Yeah. Also, I have a message.
Yep. Holy crap.
King.
Oh! Dang! Oh my gosh! Wow. It's like, oh, this is my king!
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, oh dang. Um.
At least he copied it. He didn't steal it. Oh my gosh.
And they're avoiding the immediate thing. Must.
Oh my god, that look! Oh. Whoa, he's being pretty honest.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And he's vaguely using the truth. It's genius.
But what about the message?
What do I...
You could deliver the message.
Yeah. You can't.
He can't even think straight.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wow. Oh.
Yeah, so maybe you could use the message. The obvious one?
Yep. Oh.
Well, if you say nothing, you're probably gonna die.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yep.
Oh my god. Yeah. Wow. 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 Jeez. Oh. This is great because he's talking without talking.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
The fact that it's his hand, though, and not his tail.
Yeah. Wow, surrounded by humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, say your message. That might stop him. Otherwise, you're dead.
Yep, yep. Jeez, like Nov.
Uh-huh.
Whoa. Wow. Oh my god. Ugh. Oh! Oh! What? What?
Okay.
What? He. Oh!
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes! 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 Oh. It's as if all is right in the world, even though we know this is only temporary.
Right, right.
Oh. Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Dang. Yeah.
Oh, poof! Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, but because this is punishment, he knows that how much this punishes him.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Whoa.
Because nothing else matters. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah. I can read your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Wow.
Okay.
Dang. Oh my gosh. This is so cool. Oh. Yeah. Oh. No. Well, Finn.
Wow.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh my god.
All right.
This is the king.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But now.
Woo.
Oh.
Now, did Welfin make that way more complicated than he needed to? Absolutely. However,
Was
that
the
still
build-up
an
worth
excellent
it?
Episode.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Ugh.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Like, I love what they've been doing with Meruem, but the fact that it should come from someone who had essentially forsaken his chimera ant, aspects and become human again,
Yeah.
should give him his key back to being a perfect being in a way, Wow. Whew. Na hiani.
Excellent episode. Wow. And wow. It feels weird to say that because I really didn't like a lot of this episode. But I mean, that ending, like, yeah, you can't deny it. It's there.
Yep.
It exists.
Yep.
And holy crap.
It was a conversation.
Yeah.
The episode was one conversation, basically.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of hesitation.
a lot of thinking. Because here's something here's something that's really, really important here. Welfin just kinda changed everything.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, this is something I feel like is important to bring up. Welfin is a character that was introduced way late into the whole Chimera Antark storyline.
Yeah.
I wish he had been introduced sooner, but I realize now the reason why he was introduced later was because his relevance in the grander scheme of things won't be capitulated until much later. Meaning that, like, he needs to be introduced at least early enough that this scene can happen. And this is the main scene that his entire character has built up towards. After this, he's basically done. They've ended him.
And it's funny because, like, his whole thing as the introduction for his character and kind of how they resolve his character, because this, for all intents and purposes, is his resolution. Was the person that overthinks things way too much.
Of course, we always knew that. Yeah.
And was trying to basically work his way up the ranks of some other structure, right? Something that he valued, but not deeply. It was just the idea of it's the thing that I'll do, right? But then here we got to see him, even though he still overthinks things, value, like, and put first that thing that's more than just the tangibles, the everyday stuff, the things that really mattered to him, like Gyro.
Okay, because I want to go really, like, in depth into this whole thing with Welfin here. You know why he said Komugi? Why did he say Komugi?
Well, it's because the one word that would get his attention fastest and not cause the king to kill him.
Yes, that's right. That is right. But why did he choose that one? Why couldn't he have been wrong?
Because of I see what you're saying. Yeah. Because of basically his love for Gyro, he recognized that in the king. So then he that's why he said Komugi's name. Yeah.
Because of Gyro, because of the fact that he has now retained and, well, more like regained his empathy, his humanity, the good parts of himself, and his memories and all of this. And also, in a lot of ways, everything that made him who he was before, he's now able to just, like, there has to be something that I can give to the king that will, guarantee my survival. And his whole thing has been about survival.
Right. Yeah.
His whole character has been one about laws of the jungle.
Right.
Rules of nature.
Self-serving and all that. Yeah.
But right now, when he's faced with absolute terror, pure power itself, a god, he can't do anything more than collapse in on himself and just be like, how can I live just a few more seconds? And I love that in this, he relied on his humanity. He relied on what makes a person valuable. And I love that while he knew about, Komugi, it wasn't an easy answer for him to come up with. It wasn't something that came to him quickly. It wasn't something that, broke through and was like, this is it. If anything, he took a risk. Because I think in this instance here, he was relying on his humanity. And he's realizing that if this is happening to him, could this maybe have been happening to the king? Now, I don't know actually the why. This is the thing. I think we have to take a little bit of a jump here. In that I think he realized that there was literally nothing he could say to the king as a chimera ant. But if he speaks to the king as a human, a person, someone that is connected to him, someone that he knows that the king doesn't have connection to right now. He can't say, like, the girl is alive or anything like that. He has to say her name. And there's been this whole thing with names with like Meruem's name and all this, and Welfin has been woefully, separate from all the main plot stuff.
Yeah.
But to get that information, and I would say for the most part, in a lucky way, also shows that in some ways when you're at your final moments, and you realize you're about to die, you would say the name of the person that you most value, right? Like in his case, Gyro.
No, I would have said message.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. We can all imagine what we would feel like if we were actually fearing for our life and stuff. The joke of it, I've heard in some other things, that people are just like, people just utter babbling nonsense of like, please don't kill me or something like that. And then the psycho killer's just like, oh, how unoriginal or something.
Right. Uh-huh.
But in this case, he was thinking of Gyro. He was thinking about that. And that thought encapsulated his mind, so he had enough sense to go, but who does this person value?
Right.
And I think that it's something that could have used more build-up, could have used more kind of connection to it, but I love that this happened here because Poof did everything right. He enacted his plan. He manipulated the king. He did all of this.
He told the truth and all that.
He told the truth. He did everything right. He even fell even more deeply in love with the king. Like, he was the perfect servant in a lot of ways. Like, even more so than any of the others.
Sure.
But the thing is that he can't stop just one lonely chimera ant who just happened to find some humanity, to find their humanity. I like that in a lot of ways, the strongest was defeated by one of the weakest.
Right, in the same way that if you think about it, Meruem was defeated by Komugi. Yeah.
It's a perfect parallel to, I'd say, almost everything that's happened so far in this arc specifically.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a battle. It wasn't a display of power that ended.
It kind of was.
Please don't assume what I'm talking about. I'm saying that it wasn't a display of power that defeated Meruem.
Gotcha.
Yeah. What it was just some words. It was just a connection between one human. The fact that Meruem has come up to this point because one girl, one little child, ended up deviating him from his destined course. Is, I think, one of the most perfectly beautiful and sad pictures, because we now know that it's all fated to end horribly.
Yeah, because they told us that thing about the poison.
Oh yeah, we know how it works. We know,
even though none of the characters do.
This is all just stuff for the audience to know that. Humanity won a long time ago.
Right.
And not necessarily in the best ways, but in the midst of humanity winning through just devastating means, humanity is going to win out. The humanity of individuals, not society humanity, but the humanity of the soul, the humanity of basically the connection between individuals. And it's basically, this episode is a gigantic build-up for the reunion between Komugi and Meruem.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Yeah,
I love it!
The last 5 minutes of this episode were incredible. And then there were parts throughout it that were amazing. One of the reason I feel like why I have the issue with how the whole deal with Welfin was handled is that, does it make sense for him to be terrified? Absolutely. Does it make sense that because of his fear he would not do the best thing possible? Yeah. But because we don't have much of an, because we have an attachment to him because of stuff that's happened previously, but it felt to me like they were spending too much time on something that if he was able to have that much conscious thought, then he could have just blurted out a word.
Well, he wasn't even making sense, Jacob. His conscious thought was the survival instinct flurry of just splurging words. I'm gonna die. One word. I'm gonna die.
Well, yeah.
It wasn't. No. If he was vocalizing that
way before he even got to that point, though.
I know.
He could have just said, "I have a message." That But yeah.
Okay, I am with you, except that they made a great point to showcase how terrified he was instantly.
Yes.
Instantly upon the king, just poof, he's there.
Right.
And he's just, ah! Like, I
Uh-huh.
agree with you that it would have been cool to be like, and right then, Welfin aged 100 years.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Instead of having it at the end.
Uh-huh.
But I don't really care because, again,
Yeah.
this is that whole time dilation perception thing. It's not meant to be a very long time. It's not meant to be something
Right.
that, you know,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
dragged out 12,
Right.
15 minutes or something.
But there's still the idea that we have to watch it for, 12, 15 minutes.
I got you.
And that's something where
But we're near the end, Jacob. Like,
I know. And I think that's why it bothered me.
Oh.
Because the idea is that since we're getting so close to the end, and I get the feeling that, like, episode wise, we're very close, actually. Like we are quite close, especially with the stuff they talked about with the poison.
Yeah.
That the fact that we have to spend so much time of an episode focusing on, I'm sorry, Welfin, but focusing on you and just how terrified you are.
Yeah.
We know you'd be terrified of the king. Like, we don't need that much time to communicate it.
Yeah. I think this is also just the proof that when they tear our hearts out, it's going to be really good.
Yeah.
Because in some ways, you will still be quite pissed at this episode for taking away more time that you could have had
with these characters. Yeah.
Between, Komugi and Meruem,
Right, or
being
even
together.
Or even just the dynamic between Meruem and Poof. Like, because, like, Poof got off very easily, and I get what they were doing with that as far as Meruem's character goes, and it was great, and the way they resolved that was fantastic. But I feel like they could, if they had spent like a bit more, like if they had given a bit more to the interactions between Meruem and Poof in this episode, than focusing on Welfin just wetting himself, that the episode as a whole would have been a lot more enjoyable for me.
So,
even though the end of the episode was, like, the way they handled that was absolutely incredible.
So, okay, let's break it down. Poof, Meruem, they're like, you're not going to tell me the secret? And he's like, no, I have to keep my word. He's like,
Yep.
okay, cool. Using N. Poof, goes to Welfin.
Right.
Welfin, right there. All right, awesome. I can now read thoughts and emotions.
Yeah.
Through absorbing your spiritual message and also
Right.
basically just being this ridiculously strong.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing. The thoughts and emotions, but he can't tell that, like, he knows about Komugi or that he has a message or, those sorts of things. Like, that seemed a bit like maybe Meruem was exaggerating his own abilities.
Yeah, totally. But that's besides the point. I don't really look at stories in a way of like how they communicate things versus what they show and try to find the discrepancies between the two. Because I'm assuming my own subjectivity colors my perception of actually what's going on. So it's better for me to kind of react to kind of what they choose to have things go towards. So anyway, specifically with this, we end up getting Poof in this very compromised situation where he's like, I have to kill him. I have to be careful here. I had to.
Sure.
But then he ends up basically commanding Meruem to go things through in the proper order. And, oh my God, Meruem turns on him and is like,
Did you just give me an order?
Did you just tell me what to do? Like, do
Yeah.
you know who you are? Do you know who I am?
You forget your place.
Yeah. And in that instance, I think we realized that regardless of how it turned out, regardless of what the parameters were of Meruem's victory, because we knew he was going to win at this point, he has no urgency. Meruem has no urgency to win right now because he doesn't know that he's dying.
Well, yes, that too.
That's a very important thing to keep in mind here.
From his perspective, he is absolutely
unstoppable,
unbeatable. Yep. Yep.
So if what's a king to a god?
Right. Exactly.
He has no worry about the time this is taking. He wants everything to go exactly the way he wants, and when Poof ends up, essentially revealing all his thoughts and everything to him, and, reveals the secret and everything, and, he says the name, Welfin says the name Komugi. it's unclear exactly how much Meruem remembers immediately, but I think the point of them going so dramatically into the feeling of elation, the feeling of satisfaction that Meruem is experiencing because he now remembers her.
Yep.
Poof is undone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Poof is undone. And this is something that I've been, in some ways, waiting for, is Poof to just poof.
Right.
And we've both said this and stuff. And I feel like Meruem, having gotten more in touch with his humanity again, is now, like, perfectly either balanced between the two, or he's tipped the scale. He is on the human side now. The way his internals work and everything, he doesn't care.
Knows?
He might not even care that much about being a chimera ant or being even the king. So when he acknowledges what Poof did and doesn't directly punish him, I think that's perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Because
poetic.
Poof is going to punish himself to the point that it's like, oh, Meruem couldn't even dream up the kind of horrible, twisted things. Poof is at the very least going to think about himself.
Yep.
But regardless of that, like...
And Poof's going to die anyways.
Poof's going to die anyways, but I feel like Poof is the kind of person who, having snapped so much as he is, and this is another thing, Meruem noticed his madness. He said it was a combination of... It was something else. It was like his loyalty and his madness that caused Meruem to stop.
Oh, was that it?
He said something like that, where he basically he was outstretched his hand, right? And he was coming up to him.
Yeah.
And it said something about madness and I think it was loyalty. Basically, the mixture of the two basically was him being like, oh.
Yeah. I don't need to do anything.
Yeah. And you can't do anything to me anymore.
Right.
You have nothing on me. So now I just have to go to Komugi.
Yep.
And I love that he doesn't even consider him a threat to Komugi. Like,
oh, no. Yeah.
Like, there's nothing about Meruem that... Because when I think about Meruem, where he is in his strength and his power right now, I don't see him as even really like an individual.
Sure, he's just a presence of force that exists.
A force of will, yes.
Yeah.
He is a law of the universe at this point.
Right. Yep.
And yet, I see him in this moment where he remembered Komugi, that he basically acknowledged that, yes, that is what I am capable of, but he stepped down to the human level. He said so many things in this episode that note, like, incredible things about what's going on inside him internally. He said, Welfin, when Welfin was like, Gyro is the only king I'll ever serve.
Yeah.
I'll never serve. You are my enemies. And he's basically just like, okay.
I hope you find him.
I hope you find him, and I hope you get to live as a human.
That reminded me straight up of, like, Gilgamesh and Waver. Like,
right.
Fate Zero, yeah.
He doesn't care about being king, though. That's something that's somewhat communicated by him saying that to Welfin. His status, his role as the king of the Chimera Ants, or the king of the world even, doesn't mean anything. He's like, okay. Yeah. In that respect, Poof could, at this point, throw every bit of slander, and this is something I predicted, and I think it was in the last episode, saying that Poof would irrationally throw all of his frustration and anger and hatred at the king, because he's like, he's so... But then he would, of course, turn it on himself, and I think he's going to kill himself, actually, before he even gets poisoned to death.
Yeah, I feel like Poof is basically like that stalker person that he's so enraptured by the king.
Yes.
That seeing the king basically seeing how much the king actually cares for him, and by contrast, how much the king really does care for Komugi.
Yeah.
It is the worst possible, like, pain and punishment that he could ever get.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love the imagery of Poof being naked before the king because there's nothing he can hide.
Right.
But also showcasing how little he values himself in comparison to the king. You know, he doesn't see himself as worthy of anything. There's no trappings on him. He's just a being in servitude, bowing before his king. And the king's in full splendor and radiance and glory.
Yeah.
I think that in this instance, that part where he showed the black flowers coming over him, and he's like, I feel this uneasiness. That's not just the poison doing its work.
That's probably part of it. But
that's his own grip on everything just starting to come apart from the inside.
Yep.
So looking forward to what happens to him. I'm actually very worried about him exacting just some frustration on Welfin, because Welfin is going to be in Poof's radius of,
possibly,
death,
yeah,
and
yeah, that's the thing. Welfin's already kind of dead. Like even with the 100 years aging thing, poison will have spread to him probably by now. So
we don't know if it's basically a
direct
spread
contact
on death
or
direct contact. We don't know the parameters of it. We just know that it spreads. So I really hope Welfin does get to go and live as a human and stuff, but I don't have much hope for really anyone at this point.
Yeah.
The other thing that's really bad is that Meruem is a god, and he's going down to where Ikalgo and Palm are.
Yep.
And the poison spreads.
Right, even if he doesn't kill them, the poison spreads. It's got a good spread. So, at least Komugi's hidden away, but he'll probably find her just fine. So.
Oh, I have no doubt she's going to be found. It's just a question of how do they want this to go in the conversations and the interactions. Another thing I think that's really, really cool here is that Meruem started out. Remember when he started out and he just splatted humans, who spoke back to him and stuff.
Even Chimera ants, yeah.
Chimera ants, yep.
Yeah.
Anyone, yep. Now we have someone who has basically spent all of himself just to find, this one person that he doesn't even know yet.
Right.
He's dying, and in his final moments, because I assume this is not really his final moments, but it's some of his final moments, he's giving mercy to essentially his ultimate traitor, his Judas, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
Poof. He's basically saying, I can't save you, but I won't punish you.
Right, and like, we don't know necessarily the emotional reasoning behind it for Meruem, whether it was, something of pity or something of like, no, just being alive will be, the best punishment.
I think the fact that we're left to guess, though, we have to look at the other things that he's talking about in this time. He talks to Welfin and says, I hope you can have enough time to live out as a human.
Yep.
I think maybe in some ways he's telling Poof, like, I have to value in some way the absolute loyalty because you believe that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Like, imagine, especially, this is actually, I think the telepathy thing is actually kind of fun here because it actually expedites the process. The part with Welfin dramatically slowed down the process. I'm with you. But it actually expedites things with Poof.
Yes.
Because with Poof, he's like, you believed you were doing the right thing. You also are absolutely crazy.
Yes.
You are broken inside. You have a problem. I'm not going to solve that. Honestly, it's not something I can solve. And it might not even be something I want to solve because I care about her right now. And she's all that matters to me. So, I'm sorry, I'm abandoning you. And that abandonment, I think, is great because in some ways, the thing that was killing Poof was his unhealthy attachment to the king. You could say that in some ways Poof was destined to...
He's just not that into you.
Yeah, well, also you could say that because Poof was designed this way, that Poof was dead the minute Komugi came into his life. Came into Meruem's life. Like the minute that happened...
possibly. Yeah.
And maybe that's why Poof was really the most genius of all the Chimera ants, was that he'd realized the threat to himself... and reacted so emotionally to this whole thing happening so quickly, whereas everyone else was like, it's not that bad. In some ways, I like that we never got to really figure out Pito's kind of ultimate loyalty. Like, we never got to...
Well, we knew she cared about how the king felt.
Yes, we knew she had empathy for the king because she cared about those the king cared about.
Right.
The thing is that we never got to see her in the moments of, I would say, kind of more conflict. Well, I'm not trying to diminish what we had with her, but I love that they basically said, we're going to give, in some ways, the spotlight for the ultimate royal guard to Poof because he's the one that has the most conflict and issue with where the king's direction is going. So the one that, like Yuppie... we give actually the spotlight to him when he's having his issues with the humans, his own interactions with essentially a Komugi type, incident. With Neferpito, her thing with actually being involved directly with Komugi. Yeah. I don't think I'm making sense at this point, but yeah.
But this
yeah, the build up here is fantastic.
Next episode, I don't even know what's going to happen next episode, because if this is how this episode ended,
we're going to have another conversation.
Yeah.
We're going to have another conversation, and I think it's going to be 3 Chimera Ants who have all abandoned their Chimera Ant evolution to become humans.
Something along those lines.
That's actually, I think, what's the genius about this, is that there are no humans in this potential conversation coming up.
Unless Komugi's a part of it.
Well, no. Komugi will be after the conversation.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Because in some ways, he still doesn't know where Komugi is. He just knows she's down there.
Right. That's actually one of the things I'm curious about. They put her in a box, and it seems like they were doing that because they thought that his end couldn't breach, matter, because she was semi-concealed in the hair, but he still was able to detect that she was carrying her. He just didn't, I guess, recognize that it was Komugi from, spatial dimensionality or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not sure whether that was basically an incorrect assumption or whether they were trying to basically give us exposition about how N works, but that doesn't seem to be how N works, because the whole idea was that it would just go everywhere and it wouldn't get blocked by, I don't know. Maybe it would get blocked by physical objects, but then it's if someone's in a box, in a closed room, then you wouldn't be able to detect them. I don't know.
Anyway, yeah. I'm looking forward to this conversation because Palm
it's gonna be good.
And Ikalgo are 2 characters from very different, I would say, connections with the original squad of humans.
Sure. Yeah.
If you realize that in some ways Ikalgo kind of represents the influence of Killua, and Palm represents the influence of Gon in some kind of curious ways.
Sure.
There's another aspect of that that's kind of fun.
Also, with the idea of the humans and the Chimera Ants, they're both, in the case of Palm, she's a human that became more like a Chimera Ant, and Ikalgo is the Chimera Ant that became more like a human.
And Meruem is the one that's attaining both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's kind of they're kind of the perfect ones to have this conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that's going to be a thing where it's not going to be one of them holding back anything from the king. It's going to be them being honest.
Sure.
And just being
all cards on the table.
All cards on the table.
Yeah.
Do you know that you're dying? And he's going to be like, what?
And now if Palm knows that they're dying, she's been sort of the exposition font, So does that mean that she will also know that the poison spreads? Because if so, that would be quite the message to how do you communicate that to Meruem that you shouldn't ever see Komugi again, because if you do, you'll kill her.
Well, I don't think she's wanting to antagonize him right
No,
now.
I know, but if it was an all cards on the table, just
right.
honest about everything type deal.
But remember how she said what we're doing is cruel?
Uh-huh.
I don't think she's gonna tell him. I think in a lot of ways she's going to play this situation out so the king ends up dead, and if anyone else ends up dead, then I guess those people were supposed to die.
Although, since if they lay the cards out on the table and everything, and the king is like, oh yeah, I was gonna let your friends go because I don't need to know anything else. I know all that I want to know.
Yeah.
Then at that point, they would at least have no reason to keep Komugi, unless they were doing it just to be cruel, with no other objective in mind.
Well, if he's going to die anyway, they do need to stall for a little bit of time so that,
Oh, to keep what he does until then minimized?
Yeah.
Sure.
Somewhat.
Yeah, but in that sense, it might be that... Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe in some ways also Palm doesn't really know how much the king cares for Komugi yet. So he's going to basically reveal that.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the 2 kind of, oracles speaking to each other and just having this weird moment of they acknowledge each other's perceptiveness, and then
right.
Ikalgo, I feel like Ikalgo actually is someone that's going to actually sense something more. I feel like they're both going to have some keen insight into where the king is at. but I almost feel like they're each going to help the king in a small way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I like the idea of Palm ultimately kind of being cruel, though, and being like, well, I know you're going to die, and I'm not really going to stop you from having a quiet moment, with Komugi, which will end up killing her. But I'm not going to. I'm not going to make a big deal about that, because I think that in some ways they each value their own lives enough that it's like,
sure, yeah,
like, oh well, we're gonna die anyway.
He doesn't need to know that.
yeah. He doesn't need to know that.
But
hey,
we'll have to
who
see.
knows? Maybe there'll be more to it than that.
Yep.
Guys, this was crazy. This episode, I feel
This
like
is a turning point.
I feel like this was one of the most intensely, like they extracted so much tension out of such a small amount of story. And I do feel like you're right in that they over dramatized Welfin's stuff a lot, but because it's the end, I actually like it. I actually like it because there isn't much story left to tell. Like, if we think about actually what story there is left to tell, it's post-King's death recuperation. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And it's really just however long they want to have the time till he dies be.
Right. And then how much time afterwards with the characters, because there's all the stuff for the world itself.
Well, that's it. That's ad infinitum. Anything, but I'm saying the Chimera Ant arc effectively ends when the king dies.
Right.
Effectively, it can still go on afterwards, because there are other Chimera Ants that have really interesting things that are still on the table.
Sure.
Like Palm, like Colt, like the Queen's kid. All these things, but other than that, it's just how they decide to showcase the end of Meruem.
Yeah.
And in some ways, poof.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that. I can't wait for that.
That's going to be good.
All right, guys, so if you want to watch the next 2 episodes reactions right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. Any level of support gets you access to our Discord, where you can chat with us about stories or whatever. And if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.